Hello guys, fellow movie friends. I hope you're having a really good day wherever you are in the world. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I decided to do these kind of live streams on YouTube, and there's me coming in on another that's me coming on the other side. But yeah, basically coming on and doing a live stream where we discuss a certain topic, and also you guys can send in your questions, whether it be through Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Get your questions in. It can be movie, TV related. I'll answer the question here, break it down. Hopefully, if you're in the chat, you can get in on the action as well and just talk about what we love, guys, which is movies, 100%. And I hope you're having a good day. It's hard times. We have to try and stay positive as much as we can in these tough times. And look, it is difficult, but always remember, do something that you enjoy. If you enjoy a movie or TV show, sit down, relax, watch it, get out and do some exercise as well. But what kind of movies did I watch lately? Well, one movie that I got to watch was Fat Man with Mel Gibson. I have a review on the channel about that. Really enjoyed the film. I thought it was a really nice, unique look at the character of Santa Claus, but it doesn't do it in your face like, oh, this is Santa Claus and this is what he does. It's pretty interesting. I actually had a lot of fun with it. Definitely check that out. I also got to see Unhinged with Russell Crowe. That's another review I have on the channel here. But yeah, it was a good one. Russell Crowe, it's not the best movie that you probably ever watch, but Russell Crowe, just to watch it for his performance, is pretty great. He gets really angry in the film, and he is basically unhinged. So Unhinged is a pretty good film in terms of some of the action that they do and stuff like that. But another one I got to see was Boss Level. Now, if you're in America, Boss Level wasn't put out there until 2021 in the US, but in Europe it's actually been released in some places, and I got the chance to see it. Mel Gibson is in it, Frank Grillo. It's a unique kind of film. It uses the time loop scenario that we've seen a million times, but it does something different to it. It's kind of like a GTA dynamic to it, like a game dynamic. I liked it. There's loads of action in it, and they actually shot the movie I think in 27 days, but when you actually see the movie yourself, you won't believe it, because there's so much action. There's so much in this movie, and Frank Grillo is absolutely brilliant in it. Mel Gibson has a smaller kind of role, but look, that's a film that I enjoyed. I thought it was pretty good, and when you guys get to see it, I think it's coming out on Hulu in America. In Europe, it's in some places already. It's kind of had gone through a bad time and trying to get released and finance and things like that. But another movie I got to see was Let 'Em Go. Let 'Em Go was pretty good as well. Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, Man of Steel vibes. I got to do a review for that film as well, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. It was really interesting in terms of, it had the drama, the emotional moments, but there was some action in it as well, which was actually pretty interesting. I didn't think there was going to be much action in it because the cast is old enough, but it just shows you age is just a number. And look, a character actor like Kevin Costner, put him in anything, he's going to be absolutely brilliant. Diane Lane, of course, brilliant as well. These are just brilliant actors, actresses that can do absolutely anything you put them into, and I get that emotional connection that the two of them had definitely carried over from Man of Steel. They're absolutely brilliant in that movie. You really feel for them. But when you come to this movie, it doesn't put you off that you've seen them in another movie before, but I think it actually adds to it, because them being in such a high profile movie before, and then you see him kind of a grounded more movie this time, it was pretty good, and I like that as well. I got to see another one, a weird one, I think it's pronounced Viva Rum, with Jesse Eisenberg and Emogi Poots. It's a really weird film, and I don't know if I'd watch it again, because afterwards I literally felt sick. And I know that kind of might put you off it, but it wasn't like I was sick because of the goriness, or like, it's not like a Saw movie or anything like that. I felt sick because of the camera shots, the effects they were using. The performances are brilliant in it. I think there's only like 4 or 5 actors in the entire movie, and 3 actors play the one character. But it's weird. It's really, really weird. I remember Jesse Eisenberg talking about it before. He doesn't watch his own movies, but he enjoys making films. And this one, it's just weird. If you have a chance to see Viva Rum, I think that's how it's pronounced, definitely let me know in the comments what you think of that film. It's weird as hell. I don't think I'd watch it again, but it's unique and it's different. That's what you kind of want from movies, because movies sometimes are repetitive. The same thing comes out and you're like, I don't know, I've already seen this before, but this is something different. And if you want something different that's not a comic book movie or a live action rip-off or anything like that, definitely watch this, because it's different. It really is different. But yeah, you guys let me know in the comments if you've seen any good movies lately. I'm always interested in what kind of films people watch, because you get certain movie ideas off people that you've never seen before that you want to check out. And I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and people recommend movies, and I've never even heard of them, and I go check them out. And it's good to kind of broaden your horizons in terms of finding something that you've never seen before. Because I'm kind of critical of going back and watching the same thing over and over again. I don't know how many times I watched Batman vs Superman or The Dark Knight. They're easy watch films because I love them so much. But I like to go outside my comfort zone and watch a movie that's different, like a Viva Rum or an Unhinged or a Fat Man, and you know what, you can have a lot of fun with them big time. But guys, yeah, I wanted to do these streams, talk about something, and then listen to your guys' opinions. You can send me in questions through Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want. Send me a question, tell me it's for the Viking stream, and also if you want to get in the comments during one of the streams, definitely do that. Come in, let me know your thoughts, put a question towards me, and we'll talk about it and have some fun while we do it big time. Okay, so The Mandalorian episode 5 aired on Friday morning, wherever you are in the world, through Disney Plus. Look, I've been loving this season. I really have been loving this season a lot. I just love the way it's told. It's like a different team each episode. The first one was a western, the second one was a horror, heist kind of things. It's a pretty cool show, and this is coming from someone who's not a huge Star Wars fan. Like, I'm not. I'm more into my comic book movies and things like that. But when it comes to Star Wars, I'm kind of a laid-back fan. I'll sit down, I'll watch a show, I'll watch a movie, and I'll take it for what it is. And I'll probably come away from it probably enjoying myself because I don't really have that much at stake as a fan. But if it was a Batman movie or a Joker movie, I'd be a lot more invested. I'd probably be a lot more worried about the movie because I really wanted to do well. And if you're a diehard Star Wars fan, you probably have the same kind of feelings that I would towards Batman, and that's understandable. Like for the sequel trilogy for Disney, I've liked the movies. I haven't thought they were anything special or groundbreaking or anything. I've liked them. They've had good teams, good elements in them, and there's a lot of stuff that I didn't like. But when it comes to the prequel stuff, like a Rogue One, I really love. When it comes to a Han Solo, I really enjoyed that movie. And with The Mandalorian, it's probably my favourite Star Wars content that Disney have done, and a lot of people feel that way towards it, and I know that, and I know there's probably, it's easy to hate on the sequel trilogy, and maybe genuinely they are bad, I don't know, but with The Mandalorian, I've had a hell of a time. Pedro Pascal as Mando is brilliant. Of course, you got Baby Yoda there as well, Grieve and Cara. These are all good characters that are likeable. But this episode, titled The Jedi, it had everything you want. And the title of the video was Mandalorian is perfect fan service. And I truly believe that. The Rise of Skywalker tried to go in a direction of fan service. Palpatine, Han Solo come back, things like that. And for me, it just kind of was pushed into your face. But there's something about The Mandalorian. It drops little Easter eggs, little hints, little pieces of dialogue, characters you're getting to see. But it doesn't force it into you. It doesn't say, here, this is fan service. The Mandalorian does it in an organic way that plays to the story. And I really admire that big time from the storytelling point of view. Like in this episode alone, The Jedi, look, everyone know that we're going to get to see a certain character. It's titled The Jedi. But when it's referencing characters, when it's referencing dialogue, it feels like it's part of the overall story. Dr. Fate says, yo, Viking, you're going to see the fight. Mike Tyson, John Jones. Yeah, I probably will get to see it, man. Do you have it where you are? Yeah, they're doing that tonight. If anyone doesn't know, Mike Tyson is fighting John Jones for charity event, which might get a little bit hectic with Mike Tyson in the ring. I'm looking forward to the two of them. They looked pretty fit in the weigh-in last night, so that should be a good one. Thanks for reminding me, Dr. Fate. But this episode with Ahsoka Tano, many people were looking forward to seeing this character because they were such big fans of the animated version that Dave Filoni has done an amazing job with, and now he's bringing it to live action, and he seems like the perfect guy. But the little kind of references towards Yoda, towards Anakin, I really loved. And for someone who's not a Star Wars fan, I was like, this is pretty cool. This is like Batman and Joker talking and referencing the Penguin or something to me. And like for someone who's not invested in this world of Star Wars, I thought it was really cool and I loved it so much. And it really got me excited as a fan. So maybe I slowly am turning into a big Star Wars fan because The Mandalorian is something that I look forward to week after week. And many people, the online discussions, everything like that, it's exciting to read. It's exciting to discuss it with people, and we get to see Baby Yoda's his real name. But I just want to read this from games radar if it comes up. Now, this is kind of like just an overview of the episode, okay? The Jedi has arrived. After months of teasing, Rosario Dawson's live-action version of Ahsoka Tano has turned up, and her arrival is shocking. Quite literally, there's no dilly-dallying around as Ahsoka emerges from the misty darkness with her lightsabers bright, swiping through enemies just seconds into the episode. From there, it's muddy, gloomy battle through a wave of nameless goons leading to walls of a remote town. Yeah, and that opening sequence, when I first saw it, I didn't think it was done that well, but I think what they were trying to do was have a certain kind of mystery to Rosario Dawson and her coming into the show. But the later lightsaber fights are pretty cool. The Mandalorian Chapter 13 has more than a few nods to the samurai movies that influenced George Lucas when he first made Star Wars: A New Hope. The townsfolk held ransom by an invader with only a lonely sword-wielding vigilant to save them is a tale known throughout the world. There's even a major whiff of more recent movies such as Princess Moko, about a forest princess who fights the industrial invaders. Of course, those samurai movies were also the basis of many westerns, and come the finale, we have two showdowns, a sword fight and a quick draw that mirrors the two influences. And many people were saying that it looks similar to Kill Bill, you know, that snow scene, and it did. And look, what I think David Filoni and Jon Favreau are doing is they're being respectful to what George Lucas built, but they also have the expectations of how controversial the sequel trilogy was. But I think they're actually tasked, they're juggling so many aspects of this world of Star Wars by trying to be respectful to the old movies, to the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, but also kind of bringing elements from the sequel trilogy, the likes of Snoke, maybe the Mandalorian count, I think it's called, the M count that Baby Yoda's blood is, things like that, bringing them into this story to give them the respect that they deserve. And they're juggling so many things, but they're actually making it work. Before that encounter, though, Mando arrives on the scene on Corvus and is tasked by the Mazadrit to hunt down Ahsoka. Talk about an easy way to find a lead. One brief walk later, Mando and Ahsoka have a brief scuffle that quickly establishes that Beskar is in fact lightsaber proof, and the pair settle down as their actual interests are revealed. The dynamic between Ahsoka, Mando, and Baby Yoda was pretty cool. Ricky Tan, Batista checking in. How you doing, man? Kyle Arkin goes, what's up, Viking? How you doing, man? We're just talking about the Mandalorian right now. Send in any questions you want. We'll get the Q&A in a little bit. But yeah, I love the dynamic between Ahsoka, Baby Yoda. You can see that moment of silence that Baby Yoda was telling Ahsoka everything that has gone down. There was no dialogue. They were just looking at each other. Then she was looking over at Mando, and you could tell that Baby Yoda was telling absolutely everything that's happened over the last 2 seasons. Director Dave Filoni, who acted as showrunner on the Clone Wars, in which Ahsoka first appeared, has a brilliant way of delivering deep Star Wars mythos to us without ever making the lore. While Ahsoka may reveal a whole lot about Baby Yoda, now known as Grogu. What do you think of that new name, guys, Grogu? Do you like it, or are you just going to still use Baby Yoda? In a monologue bordering on being an exposition dump, it's still engaging enough as names broader fans will recognise. Yoda was dropped. For those who did watch the Clone Wars, there are some excellent moments of payoff, such as Ahsoka referencing her tragic past with former master Anakin Skywalker. These scenes with Ahsoka and Snoke referencing moments of Chapter 12 have surprisingly entwined The Mandalorian with the events of wider Star Wars universe. It's both joyous and worrying, though it appears that multiple spin-offs could be coming, thus leaving the tale of Din Djarin and Baby Yoda, Grogu to the Mandalorian series, and Ahsoka versus Thrawn to something different. And it did set up something. If they want to go in a direction of a spin-off with Ahsoka, they can definitely do that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Mandalorian and Baby Yoda's relationship has been building to this father-son bonding for quite some time, and seeing the two become inseparable under the eyes of Ahsoka is particularly endearing. By the end, when the day is saved, I was hoping Mando wouldn't leave the child behind. Well, actually, I thought Baby Yoda was going to be stolen by Moff Gideon. That's my kind of prediction as well for the rest of the season, while Mando was busy saving the day. Lo and behold, Grogu was okay, and rather than teaming up with Ahsoka, the former Jedi gave Mando another place to travel to. And the theme for every episode is basically the same. Mando helps somebody in return for something, information or something, and then that's the end of the episode. Every episode this season has been the exact same, and it's kind of similar to a video game. And you know what? It's working because the dialogue is good, the action is good, the story progresses, the interaction with the characters is all pretty good, and that's why it's working. Of course, through the episode, the action was again excellent, and there's a visual thrill in seeing lightsabers spark up. I love that. I really love that. Brian, my man's in the chat. How you doing, Brian? Ahsoka's move from animation to being a real life person was at first slightly uncanny, yet the episode gives us enough time to adjust to seeing her. Unlike Bo-Katan, she's immediately a lot more likable with her presence and a iteration of Baby Yoda. I suppose Bo-Katan, if you're a big fan of those animated stuff, the animated shows, you probably will like her popping up. A lot of people didn't like her popping up for some reason. There are so many minor references to the wider world that fans wanting to understand more will have a field day. But for everyone who simply wants 45 minutes of Star Wars escapism, this episode delivers in droves with its epic scale. Titan, here we go. Yeah, overall, the episode was brilliant. It's probably my second favourite episode of the season so far. Episode 1, or Chapter 9 of this season, with Timothy Olyphant's sheriff kind of character, was probably my favourite one. You know, but this episode, brilliant. I love the little name drops, the Easter eggs. It's going to set up future things with the temple, with Baby Yoda, referencing Anakin Skywalker. So overall, I love this episode. Did you guys like this episode of The Mandalorian? I don't know, for someone who's not a huge Star Wars fan, this show has really got me into this kind of world and makes me want to kind of revisit it a little bit more with the animated shows. With looking at the movies again, maybe reading some of the books, because the world seems huge, and it is huge, but we've kind of been stuck in this bubble of the Skywalkers for so long. But now that we're going outside of this, there's so much to explore, and Filoni and Favreau have so much to task. They're being respectful to George Lucas, probably unlike the sequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy wasn't that respectful to what George Lucas built, but I think Filoni and Favreau respect him. They respect what he would have done with the characters, and now with the characters that they have been dealt, like Baby Yoda, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Bo-Katan, they're doing the best they can, being respectful to the old, but also dealing with the negativity that the sequel trilogy had to deal with, which was big. And looks like they're going to be able to try and put some light on the sequel trilogy and kind of propel it in a way by adding certain bits of story that might come up in future movies or future seasons of the show. Brian Scully goes, "'Twas a good one, alright. Filoni beating himself off a bit, but really good at the same time." Yeah, and the thing is about Filoni is he loves that character. He loves Ahsoka Tano. And I thought that this episode would be full of the character. I thought that it would be like an episode to say, oh, here's the character I kind of invented. Here's the character I had with the shows. And to show everyone, oh, this is a character that should be in live action years ago. This is a character that I should have had. But actually, he took it in a very mature way. He introduced Ahsoka Tano, and he didn't have her overshadow Mando or Baby Yoda. She had her purpose in the story, which also set up things if they want to go in a different direction, a spin-off of the character. But for me, she didn't overshadow the two main leads of this story that we've been watching for 2 seasons, which I think was good. And even Filoni, this is like his 3rd episode to direct of The Mandalorian, and I think he's improving episode by episode. His first one, he was rusty, but that's because that was his first live action thing to direct. He was used to animation, but now as we go on, he understands the words of Star Wars. There's no doubt about that. But I think he'll improve big time as a director, because he already is improving. But he didn't let his character per se overshadow Mando or Baby Yoda, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I actually think Baby Yoda will be captured by Moff Gideon, and I think that's going to be the story for next season. Mando trying to track him down. Talks of a Jedi coming to the temple when Baby Yoda goes there. Is it going to be Luke Skywalker? I think they will end up using Luke Skywalker at some point in this series, but I think it's too soon for that. A lot of talk about the Ezra character from the Clone Wars or Rebels, maybe. But it'd be cool to see another Jedi. And look, I love the lightsaber fights. I really do. And it's something that we've been lacking. You know, in the sequel trilogy with Disney, there was some okay ones. The Last Jedi probably had the best one. But when's the last time we had a really good lightsaber fight, you know? Grogu, it's Grogu. Yeah, it is Grogu. Yeah, I'm so used to saying Baby Yoda, and even Mando is used to saying the kid or the child, so he's going to have to learn as well. We're all going to have to learn, but I don't think they're going to put Grogu on the marketing for the toys or the t-shirts for Baby Yoda. I think it's just going to stick to Baby Yoda. It's more cuter, and probably kids understand it a little bit more. But guys, if you have any questions, open discussion now, any questions for me or any opinions, put them into the chat. I asked on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram for people to send in some questions, and we will discuss them here. So if you have any question, guys, I see some in the chat already. Put them in and I'll answer them when I get done these ones. So this one comes from Facebook, from Jacob Byington. He says, do you watch a lot of kaiju movies, Godzilla, Ultraman, etc.? If so, which is your favorite, and what is your favorite monster movie? I don't watch a lot of that kind of stuff, like the likes of anime and stuff. I've stayed away from for a very long time. It just didn't really interest me. But monster movies, yeah, I love monster movies, of course. Like the thing with King Kong, the Percy Jackson King Kong is a brilliant movie, absolutely brilliantly made. But I have a lot more fun with Skull Island than I do with that movie. Maybe because it's just kind of more action, there's more cooler dialogue and stuff in it. But don't get me wrong, the King Kong movie that he did is unbelievable. But Kong's Skull Island, I prefer a lot more. And I'm looking forward to Godzilla v Kong. The Godzilla movies I think are okay. I didn't really see the big attraction around them, especially the one that came out in 2014 with Bryan Cranston. It was okay, it didn't really show enough of the character of Godzilla in my opinion, and didn't he die early as well, Bryan Cranston's character? He was in the marketing a lot, but he was barely in the movie. But no, I do like monster movies. The Mummy movies I really love with Brendan Fraser. I have such a soft spot for those movies and him. The one with Tom Cruise was okay. They probably should have did a little bit more. They had a lot more money than the older movies had. They had Tom Cruise in it, and they didn't really do enough to propel the story or say come back for more. They set it up for a sequel. Of course, they wanted to do a big monster universe, didn't they? With Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. Was it Angelina Jolie as Miss Frankenstein or something like that? It's something like that. But then that movie didn't make as much money as they thought it would and be a success as they thought, and so they just canned everything. But I do like monster movies, of course I do. Is Swamp Thing a monster movie? Could that be titled as a monster movie? I love the show Swamp Thing, but yeah, the likes of the Godzillas, the King Kong. I'm looking forward to that next year. I thought Godzilla King of Monsters was actually brilliant. Such a sci-fi, effects-driven epic, and it will be a little bit disappointing if Kong and Godzilla goes to streaming, because that's a movie that you should probably see on the big screen. But that's only in America, it's been rumoured, with some release of theatres, but here there is no HBO Max, things like that, so it probably would get a theatrical release, all going well with COVID. And I think Wonder Woman 84 is supposed to come here on the 16th of December. All depends on COVID, of course, in theatre, so I might get the chance to see Wonder Woman 9 days early before the US and in theatres, which is perfect. Okay, this is from Facebook as well, with Sharon Chapman. Do you think the zombie culture is here to stay, or will it become too mainstream? Well, like, the zombie genre was kind of dead for a while, and I thought Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead kind of brought something new to the universe of zombies, of this world. That movie was a success. It made money, it got good reviews, set Zack Snyder up for getting some awesome films, but it also brought the zombie genre back into it. Then Robert Kirkman was writing the Walking Dead comics, which were a huge success for years, and then also the Walking Dead show came. That's on its 10th season now, with spin-offs, Fear the Walking Dead, which is going to go into its 7th season in 2021. Then you got another spin-off, World Beyond, which is going to guarantee to have 2 seasons. They just finished season 1. Then you have the Rick Grimes trilogy movies that's supposed to come. And on top of that, you've got Japanese zombie films like Train to Busan. You've also got a Netflix zombie show called Black Summer. But I think it is fairly popular, and even though the Walking Dead numbers, the ratings have gone down in the last 2 or 3 years, it still stayed around, and it must have a fan base if they're willing to keep it on the air for so long, and then greenlit multiple spin-offs and movies of it, and then Netflix doing their own thing. Plus, Zack Snyder is coming in with an Army of the Dead movie, which is a zombie heist movie that's set in Las Vegas. So that's going to be pretty cool. So I don't think the zombie culture is dying. I think it's here to stay for a number of years. Zack Snyder is also doing an animated spin-off to his movie, which will be coming in the next 2 or 3 years. There's also a spin-off shooting right now of Army of the Dead, a live-action one. So that'll be coming after Army of the Dead, so maybe in the next year or two. So I think the zombie culture is definitely here to stay big time. It's definitely here to stay. I don't think it's gone away in a long time. Even Robert Kirkman had a new comic, even though he ended the main comics, he did a Here's Negan kind of storyline as well, special edition. So no, I don't think it's I think it's here to stay at the moment. World War Z with Tom Cruise was a huge success as well. David Fincher directed that, right? But yeah, no, I think the zombie culture is very much alive. I'm a huge fan of the zombie culture, of the zombie genre. I love it so much. I really do. I don't know why. One of the first DVDs that I bought was Dawn of the Dead. I didn't know who Zack Snyder was. I didn't know anything about directors, producers. I think I bought it around 2010. Then Halloween 2020, The Walking Dead premiered here, and I got into that. Haven't missed an episode since. So I think the zombie culture is definitely here to stay. Tony Movie Chappie says, "Hey man, how you doing?" He goes, "Thoughts on the movie Drive. Ryan Gosling. Okay, Drive is an interesting movie. When I first got to see Drive, I didn't like it whatsoever. I didn't like Drive. I just thought it was boring. But I think at that time I didn't have enough appreciation for cinema, for how a film is made, how kind of a loner type movie can have a lot of substance to it. Went back to it years later, and I actually love the movie now. I love Ryan Gosling as an actor, and when he appears in these types of films where he plays this kind of loner character like Blade Runner 2049, he's perfect for it. And even though he's done it a number of times in the same in movies, he's done that character, he brings something new to it each time. And Drive for me is a slow burn, but the payoff is absolutely brilliant, and he's brilliant in the role. So Drive, for a movie that I didn't like at first, I ended up actually loving that a lot. Kyle Arkin in the chat goes, "I watched The Terminator for the first time in my life a couple of days ago. I know it's shocking." Kyle, what are you doing, man? I actually don't think I've seen the first Terminator in a very long time. T2, I've watched it recently. T1, I couldn't really get into it, but the effects in T2 were absolutely amazing. Absolute. James Cameron as a director is look, he created some of the biggest movies of all time. He basically has redefined cinema in terms of his action. T2 being a success, T1 being a success, Titanic being the #1 movie of all time. Also at its time, one of the most expensive movies of all time. He comes 10 years later, he makes another expensive movie of all time, Avatar, and he makes the most highest grossing movie of all time, Avatar. And I know people are doubting him, saying nobody wants to see an Avatar 2. Nobody's interested in an Avatar anymore. But guys, are you really going to doubt James Cameron? James Cameron, one of the best filmmakers of all time. Are you really going to doubt him as a director when he comes with a sequel to Avatar? He wouldn't just waste the last 10, 12 years of his life doing nothing for him to make a bomb. I think we're going to get to see something, like people think, oh, we're just going to get to see what we saw in the first one. I think we're going to get something absolutely insane for Avatar 2 whenever it does come out. Avatar 3 and 4, aren't they shooting multiple films? So he must have a unique vision, and I can't wait to see that. So I don't get the people that doubt James Cameron. I really don't get it whatsoever. Tony Movie Chappie goes, "Are you a fan of anime?" Anime, I'm not, man. So if you have any recommendations, don't be afraid to come into my DMs, let me know. I'm always looking to broaden my horizons with movies or shows, but I never really got into it. I actually wasn't Alicia Battle Angel, an anime show, an anime kind of comic as well, or something like that. I really like the live action movies, so I definitely would have to check out more anime. But loads of people are into anime. It's a big attraction, especially girls. But a lot of girls I talk to love anime stuff, but I never really got into myself. Nowhere to really watch it. Let me know. Thoughts on Neil Blomkamp's 3 films: District 9, Asylum, and Chappie. The only one I've seen of those 3 movies is Chappie, and that was a very long time ago. Hugh Jackman's in that. District 9 I haven't watched. Asylum I haven't watched. So there's movies that I definitely need to watch and get back to you, man. Chappie I've seen. I didn't have much of an opinion of. I didn't really like Chappie, I don't think. I didn't really get into it. I didn't really like Hugh Jackman as a villain, but I would have to revisit them. And the other 2 I definitely need to watch. Big time. I've heard a lot of people talk a lot, especially about District 9 being an unbelievable film. Caleb Byington on Facebook goes, "Are you a fan of horror movies? If so, which one? Do you like found footage style horror?" I don't like found footage style horror. I don't really like that kind of stuff. The Paranormal Activities and everything else, didn't really get into them whatsoever. Brian Scully says District 9 is so good. I've heard lots of people talk about that movie in a positive way, saying it's great, so I definitely probably have to sit down and watch that movie. But horror movies, I was never big into horror movies, but around Halloween there, I sat down and watched every one of the Halloween Michael Myers movies. I have a big soft spot for Michael Myers films. Can't wait for the number 2 version to come out with Jamie Lee Curtis coming. It was delayed a full year. I like Chucky movies. I like the Scream movies a lot. Can't wait for number 5 is coming out in January. But big horror movies, not really. I don't really sit down and want to watch a horror movie, but I suppose there's different types of horror as well. The likes of the Saw movies, I never got into, didn't like them whatsoever. But the Chuckies, the Scream, Michael Myers, Friday the 13th, yeah, those movies I kind of like, but I'm not a mad horror fan. Kyle says, I'm going to be watching Terminator 2 tomorrow. Yeah, Kyle, let me know what you think of that movie. That film is absolutely brilliant. Looks like it was made today. Some of the action is absolutely, oh, it's ridiculous. It's brilliant. And it's a shame that they never, the sequels never really lived up to that. I've yet to see Terminator Genisys. Oh no, is that, what's the one, the recent one that came out? Is that Genisys? No, that's the one with, oh, no, that's the one with Emilia Clarke. I can get to see the recent one. I can't remember what it was called. Tony Movie Chappie goes, District 9 is a masterpiece. You seriously need to check it out when you get the chance. Well, it's pretty big words, isn't it? Man, yeah, I'll have to check Dark Fate. That's the one. That's the Terminator one. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. It didn't, like, Brian. Some of the cinemas here, Brian's from Ireland as well. Some of the cinemas here don't show the same kind of movies. Like, I know the IMC ones show certain kind of movies, and they weren't showing Terminator, they weren't showing Tenet. But then you go to the other one, the other chain of movie theaters, and they were showing those movies. It's kind of weird around here. I don't understand. Probably in Dublin, in the city where there's loads of theaters, they probably show all the movies. But here, like, you might not get to see Tenet because it's not in that cinema. You have to go to somewhere else, like in Longford. That's a good bit, like a drive, you know. It's kind of weird. But on Instagram, Dave Mark Who _ says, Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, sure sounds expensive. 70 million to finish. I hope it's worth the wait. Well, look, my opinion on that is I'm not paying 70 million. You're not paying 70 million. So at the end of the day, who gives a crap how much the movie's going to cost? It's not our money. This is up to the studio. You know, like, do any of you guys in the chat care how much District 9 costs, or Terminator costs, or Zack Snyder? Do you actually care how much it costs? Because at the end of the day, I don't give a crap how much the movie costs. The movie could cost, like the Dark Fate. Brian Scully goes, Dark Fate on Sky right now. I need to check it out myself. Genisys put me on off the franchise for good. Yeah, Genisys wasn't great. I didn't like the twist at the end whatsoever. Yeah, I didn't like the twist at the end of Genisys at all. But Sarah Connor coming back might be a good watch. But like, Zack Snyder's just like costing 70 million. I'm not spending the money on it. HBO Max is willing to spend the money. I hope it's worth it. Well, if you're a fan of Zack Snyder's films, you're probably going to like it as well. But in what substance is it worth it? This director is getting his vision being put back out there. That should have been out in 2017. And even in 2017, it wouldn't have been his exact version of the film. So I think it's great as a fan point of view. I get to sit down and watch his vision. It's great for Zack Snyder. He's won truly because he gets his film put out there. But 70 million for it to finish sounds expensive. We're not paying for it, so why should we care? Kyle Arkin goes, I also never saw The Shining, The Evil Dead, Psycho, and The Exorcist until this year. All great films, and look, it's good that you get to watch them. And yeah, a lot of those movies I didn't see for years either, and then I sat down and watched them, and then I understood the buzz around them. The Exorcist is kind of a bit weird. I've probably seen that too many times. It puts me off it. But The Shining is absolutely a masterpiece, one of the best horror movies of all time. But guys, do you care how much Zack Snyder's Justice League is costing? 70 million, 10 million, 20 million? I'm going to sit down and enjoy it no matter what. I don't really mind. Okay, on Instagram, Immortal Apex says, do you think Wonder Woman 84 has a chance to be successful? See, that's an interesting question, because on what substance is can you measure success? It's coming out in some theaters. It's coming out in HBO Max. It's not getting this international distribution that it would have pre-COVID. But the thing is, that's the world we live in right now. If they were to sit in this movie for another 6 months or 8 months and wait till the summer, would the buzz still be there for Wonder Woman 84? They announced this movie was supposed to come out in November 2019. We're now nearly in December 2020. They delayed it, then COVID hit. COVID hit again. You know, it wasn't going away. The movie was delayed. So how long did they sit in this movie? Because each month that they sit in this movie, they're losing popularity for the movie, they're losing people's interest, they're losing money, so they have to release it somehow. I think some places where theatres are open, release it, let people see it in theatres, and then people will buy it in HBO Max. But a success, I think, will have to be based on if it gets subscribers for HBO Max, which I think it will. Lots of people love Wonder Woman 1. They loved her in Batman v Superman. And I think it's great. And I think it's a great marketing opportunity for Zack Snyder's Justice. You can drop the trailer before Wonder Woman 84. You could say, this is Gal Gadot's next adventure as Wonder Woman in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And you don't have to wait 2 years, 3 years. It's coming out in 3 or 4 months. Give a release date. So I think that's a pretty good opportunity for HBO Max to gain more subscribers. But I think every cinema is willing to lose money right now. They have to accept it because, look, the world we live in is crazy. If you're Paramount, you're probably laughing right now because they have sold some of their biggest IPs this year to Amazon and Netflix. I think, was it Coming to America 2? They sold it to Amazon for, what, 120 million? I think they've made a profit this year. They've altogether in 2020, they've made 500 or 400 million through films, and that's in a COVID year. That's unbelievable. They've sold some of their films, and then Sonic the Hedgehog was a big hit as well. So it depends, but I think you have to adapt to this scenario. Now, if Warner Brothers are going to wait for another 6 months for everything to be okay, it could be worse than 6 or 7, 8 months, you know. And then this film might not get released at all, and then it might not make any money, and then HBO Max might be in a bad situation. So I think it's the right decision for be it successful. Reviews, people engagement, discussion online, social media buzz, and also more subscribers to HBO Max. I think that's how you can judge it as a success. Tony Movie Chappie goes, Terminator Salvation is actually quite underrated in my opinion. That's the one with Christian Bale, and I think McGee came out and said around the time the Snyder Cut was announced, he says that he has a director's cut of Terminator Salvation, which is pretty interesting. And a lot of director's cuts are coming out now. Rocky 4 is getting a director's cut. We're getting that Godfather Part 3, new ending, new title, new kind of scenes and everything like that, which could be interesting. So we're living in a world where director's cuts are popular. Hopefully David Ayer gets his released. So it's interesting. Tony Movie Chappie goes, are you a film critic? I'm just a movie fan, man, and I love talking with you guys. Love discussing and talking about movies. It's good fun. And you know, I came to a point in my life where COVID hit, and I thought to myself, if you take away work, if you take away school, if you take away college, if you take away whatever, and you're stuck at home and you have nowhere to go, you have nothing to do, what brings you happiness in life? And I asked myself that question. I said, what brings you happiness? I enjoy working out. I enjoy keeping fit, but I also enjoy movies. And the thing about movies is I love talking about them. I love watching them. So I said to myself, I'm just going to do the things I enjoy, and I enjoy doing stuff like this, engaging with people all around the world and talking about movies. So I'm not a film critic, I'm a movie fan, and I just like doing what I like doing and what brings me happiness. Kind of sounds corny, but at the end of the day, if you think about, you know, your happiness is everything and what you want to do with your own life. Krypton Caged is here. Hi Maher, how are you doing? KC, how are you? I didn't invite you here, so I don't know why you're here. This is for movie people who have good opinions about movies and who are my friends. I don't know why KC's here though. Yeah. Hopefully, I need to get someone to look after the chat, so next time he comes in, we get to kick him out. Kyle Arkin goes, Jack Nicholson easily carried the whole film. If it was another actor playing his character, the movie would have been boring, to be honest. The Shining, I presume you're talking about. Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm sure anything with Jack Nicholson in it is absolutely insane. Jack Nicholson, one of the greatest actors of all time, who is now retired with millions, and he's on islands and yachts, enjoying his life. So that's what we all need to do. We all need to be in movies and just be crazy as that, and then we can retire. So any movie, I think it was Batman 89, didn't they had Jack Nicholson above Batman? Isn't that crazy? They had Jack Nicholson's name first on the poster instead of the guy who was playing Batman. That wouldn't happen nowadays, I don't think. Like if you had Jared Leto's name in front of Ben Affleck, it probably wouldn't happen. Maybe it would, he's an Oscar winner, but that was pretty cool back then. Tony Movie Chappie goes, interesting because there actually is a director's cut on the Blu-ray for Terminator Salvation, and I own it. Is it any good, man? But I think he was talking about a separate cut of the movie, a longer version as well. A lot of these directors go through a lot of shit, but sometimes it works out for them. The director's cut is better than the original. Sometimes the one that they put in theaters is the better version because it's a perfect runtime. It cuts out extra scenes that you don't really need and stuff like that. But yeah, and Soup Spatsy, he wrote to me and he said, what's the best movie experience and worst experience you've ever had? Pretty interesting. Okay, so I'll start with the worst. Of course, it has to be the 2017 Justice League movie. I went in thinking we were going to get the sequel to Batman v Superman, and I came out looking at, I don't know, something that was crossed between Marvel and Teletubbies or something. I don't know. It was just absolutely terrible. I enjoyed some aspects of Justice League 2017, some good action scenes in it. Actually, do I even mean there's some good action? What good action scenes are in, actually? Yeah, I don't know what I enjoyed about that film. I probably told myself I liked the movie back then because I wanted to believe it was a movie that Zack Snyder would hand off to us, but it wasn't. And a movie, I was in America, I used to live in America, in New York, and I used to go to the cinema a lot because at the time I had no friends, I was in a new country. Yep, sad me, boo-hoo. But I went to the cinema a lot, and one of the movies I went to go see was Tammy with Melissa McCarthy. Man, that movie is shit. It's really not good whatsoever. I didn't like it at all. Melissa McCarthy for me is an actress. I like her in some things, but other things I absolutely don't like her. You know, I don't know why. I just don't like her. What did I like her in? She was good in Bridesmaids. But other than that, I don't really like Melissa McCarthy as an actress. And I went to go see that film, and it was terrible. The trailer looked actually funny enough. I went to go see the movie, and the movie kind of changes dynamic halfway through, and I'm like, what am I watching here? And I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. Kyle Arkin goes, what are your thoughts on the Venom film? For me, it's a really good film. The more I watch it, the more I like it. Venom, which made over 800 million, has a sequel on the way. I'm more interested in this. Like, I liked the first movie, but I didn't think there was anything special about Venom. It's a good watch. It's okay. I don't think they took anything mad with, like, mad risks or anything throughout the film. It's an okay movie. But Venom 2 I'm looking forward to more because it's being directed by Andy Serkis, and I think it's going to be a darker version. I think they're at a point now where it's made so much money the first time around that they'll get a little bit more leeway. Andy Serkis as the director, he'll be allowed to do a little bit more because he's a very successful actor and director. So I'm looking forward to it even more because I think we're going to get something different, which we should have got with the first one. The first one's okay, it's grand, it's okay, it's a popcorn movie, but in terms of doing something different in the comic book movie genre, it just kind of played the safe bet for me. But there's some enjoyable action sequences at big time, but I think number 2 is going to be very different. I'm looking forward to it. Tony Movie Chappie goes, thoughts on Cool World, very underrated animated movie of the 90s. I've never seen that one, man. I've never seen Cool World. What's it about? I have never seen it. And getting back to Soups Batsy's question, what is the most, what's your best movie experience? Best movie experience I've ever had. Well, I sat in the cinema alone to watch Blade Runner 2049, and I was absolutely blown away. Love that movie so much, cinematography, and there's something about watching a movie in a theater on your own, and that movie is kind of the embodiment of that because the film is so quiet. The film is kind of a loner, kind of driven thing. And I really liked that. I really did. Batman v Superman opening night, absolutely packed out of it. The atmosphere in the cinema was brilliant. Absolutely enjoyed it. I got to see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes in New York in a massive American theater. Oh my god, it was huge, bigger than the ones we have here, and it was packed out of it as well. That was a pretty good experience. I got to see X-Men Days of Future Past on opening night in New York as well, and that was packed. So I've had some pretty good, interesting movie-going experiences. Probably an interesting one was actually for Avengers Infinity War, when the scene happens where everyone kind of dusts away. Some of the reactions in the cinema were pretty funny, and that was a good one, to be honest. It's now another question from Instagram. This comes from For Nerds by Nerds. They have a podcast as well. In our lifetime, do you think we will see reboots of the big franchises of the last 20 years, i.e. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, MCU? I think that we will get a returning of the original cast of Harry Potter. These Fantastic Beasts movies haven't really hit it off with me. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, but I've never watched these Fantastic Beasts films. There's 2 of them, right? And the third one on the way. I don't know. I don't think they're hitting fans the way the Harry Potter series did. I don't think they're making the money the Harry Potter films did. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I haven't been too interested, so I think they will get to the point. It could be 5 years, could be 10 years from now, but they'll bring back Daniel Radcliffe. They'll bring back all the cast and do something. I think what's that book called? There's a book that J.K. Rowling wrote, the curse of something. They might adapt that to live action. So I think in the end, in a few years, they will come back and do a Harry Potter reboot with the same cast and do a new kind of story if it's just a one-off or a trilogy. But I'll be definitely up for that. Do I think they'll reboot the Harry Potter franchise with a new Harry Potter stuff like that? I think it's a bit too early for that, and those movies are still a killer watch and huge popularity online. But Lord of the Rings, I'm gonna admit something now. I've never watched the Lord of the Rings movies. Yeah, actually, I don't know what age I was, but I went to the cinema with my cousin to go see. I don't know which one it was, but it was 2 maybe. I don't even know the names of them, but I fell asleep. Yeah, so I don't know I know bits that happen in the movies, but I need to sit down and actually watch the Lord of the Rings. I haven't seen the Hobbit films either. Brian Scully goes, Cursed Child is a stage show, still could be adapted though. It's a stage show, is it? Okay. It still could be adapted. The Fantastic Beasts movies aren't awful, not great though. Yeah, they have a good cast as well, and they're probably being let down by some of the script writing. I think J.K. Rowling is involved heavily in the script, isn't it, with that? Which, I don't know, it's not always the best thing to have the creator of something involved with the writing process. But yeah, so Lord of the Rings, I definitely need to watch those movies and the Hobbit movies, and I'm sure they're brilliant. I just never got around it. I think the 3.5 hours each or something like that kind of puts me off a little bit to sit down in the one night, but I definitely will. And the MCU, I don't think the MCU is probably going to ever get rebooted. I think it's just going to go on the same kind of linear story that we're going to get for the next years and years to come. You know, I think they'll just do different Avengers, different groups of these heroes together, which is kind of cool to look back in 50 years from now and say, here is 102 movies of this story. And they might do something like a Flashpoint Paradox where it's all reset and they have a new kind of Iron Man and stuff like that. Maybe someday, but we'll have to wait and see. Kyle Arkin goes, I live in Ireland, Tony Movie Chappie. That's where I live, and that's where Brian lives as well. Krypton Cage, I don't know where that guy lives. He's a bit weird. He kind of stalks me online and stuff. I had a question here. I can't find it now. Maybe it's gone. Tony Movie Chappie goes, thoughts on the whole situation that Johnny Depp is in right now, and from being fired from Warner Brothers and his whole divorce with Amber Heard. Well, look, to be honest with you, I don't really care too much about it. The two of them are in a relationship. Are they both kind of terrible people in a sense, from what I've heard and stuff? Yeah, from the evidence that's been given out. Okay, but I can separate the art from the artist in some cases. And here, I can. I like Johnny Depp as an actor. I like his movies. I like watching them. I liked Amber Heard in Aquaman. Do I want them to recast her for Aquaman 2? Not really. I like having the same actors for the same movies, for the trilogy or whatever series of movies it is. Like, I didn't like in The Dark Knight that they replaced Maggie Gyllenhaal with... Was it Katie Holmes, or what's her name? She used to be married with Tom Cruise. I don't really like how that happened. So I don't really like when they change an actor out. Sometimes you have to do it. But yeah, I don't really care about the whole thing. Do I think Johnny Depp is getting unfair treatment? I think Warner Brothers should have kept him in the role with Fantastic Beasts. I think they created a bigger PR disaster by firing him than keeping him around. And like, what happens in the American case if Johnny Depp is found not guilty and Amber Heard is found guilty? What happens there? How's that look on Warner Brothers? What's that mean for Aquaman 2? I think they've lost a big star from Fantastic Beasts 3. Johnny Depp being taken out of this movie is a big blow to Fantastic Beasts 3 in terms of marketing, in terms of people being interested in it. So I think that was a big blow. I think Fantastic Beasts 3 could be in a bad situation by the time it comes out. I know Mads Mikkelsen is replacing him, great actor, but he doesn't have the star power that Johnny Depp has, not whatsoever. Thoughts on the Blade trilogy? I need to watch the Blade trilogy as well. I have not seen them with Wesley Snipes. I like Wesley Snipes. I know Ryan Reynolds is in them as well. Triple H, the wrestler, was in one of the movies as well. Yeah, I need to sit down and I need to watch those. You guys are giving me loads of recommendations to watch, but yeah, I haven't seen the Blade movies either. Yeah, so basically, guys, I wanted to do these streams where we discuss a certain topic that's in the news. So today was The Mandalorian in episode 5, discussing everything that went down there. You guys, if you want to chime in with some questions or any time, come to the live chat, put them in like we've done today. I actually appreciate you guys coming here today and giving some questions and some great discussions. But if you have a question that you want me to have prepared and ready to answer for the stream in future, come to my Instagram, it's all in the description. Come to my Facebook or Twitter, send me a message, tell me it's for the Viking stream, and I'll put it into this video and I'll answer them for you guys. I just want to do these, a lot of fun. It's good to engage with you guys. Even if you guys have some opinions about something, it doesn't have to be a question. Send me an open letter about an opinion you have, whether it got to be a movie or a certain situation that's going on, and I'll read it out here, and then we can discuss it and talk about it. No judgment. We'll discuss it in a good manner. That's what it's all about. Film is subjective. We all have different opinions when it comes to movies. And look, I won't judge you, not too much anyway, unless you're Krypton Caged. I don't know, that guy's a bit weird sometimes, but yeah. But guys, I appreciate you being here for this kind of first episode for the Viking stream. I didn't expect so many people to come in and have such a good engagement with you and talk about some interesting topics, some things that I've never even thought about, some movies that I haven't seen, and hopefully you guys have been recommended by someone to watch a movie in the chat, or you've done the same for me. I definitely need to watch the Blade movies, District 9, and movies like that. Tony Movie Chappie goes, what a movie that you think is really underrated that doesn't get enough credit? Mine is Chappie. Underrated movies, underrated movies, underrated movies. Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller. He directs it as well. I think Sean Bean is in it. Pretty good movie. Very inspirational. If you haven't seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, definitely check that out. Very underrated. Didn't make much money at the box office. I think it was under. It's actually one of the best movies of 2014. Blade Runner 2049, as I said, didn't do well at the box office, but a brilliant, brilliant film. Underrated movies. You know what? The Power Rangers movie, I used to be a big Power Rangers fan when I was a kid, but when that movie came out in 2017, I was usually excited, could not wait. Didn't make money either. Not many people talk about it, but I think it's pretty underrated. It's actually a very good team-up movie. But underrated movies, there's a lot of underrated movies out there. Some movies out there that are terrible, make loads of money. Some movies that are brilliant, make no money. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how much money a movie really makes. For us as fans, we watch what we watch, we like what we like, we enjoy it, we sit down, we discuss it with people that like it as well. And some movies that probably get a lot of bad rep, like the Batman v Supermans, and then their box office kind of looked at and kind of they're critical of it and negative of it. COVID has kind of helped that in a case where you can't compare box office scores when Zack Snyder's Justice League comes out. I think that's pretty good for that movie, because a lot of people, if that was a theatrical release, they would have said, oh, it didn't make this much money, or made just $1 million more, or 100 million more than Ant-Man, or stuff like that, negative headlines and stuff. But I think it's good if it's coming out as a series, because it can't be compared. It can be just looked at for what it is. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for all the questions tonight. I thank you very much for being a part of the Viking stream. I've really enjoyed the engagement, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Give the video a like, and hopefully I'll let you know a little bit sooner when I go live for these kind of topics, these discussions. But remember, follow me on the socials, and then send me a question that you might have, and I'll answer it here, or an open letter. Tony Movie Chappy goes, do you think the Blade Runner will get a third one, and do you want to see a sequel to the Blade Runner? I don't think it will get a sequel. Best case scenario is maybe a HBO Max series or something like that. Brian Scully says, man, Sean, keep her lit. Sound Brian, thanks very much for watching. Guys, thanks very much. Have a good night. It's pretty late here. It's like 1 a.m. now. Probably go watch the Mike Tyson fight and see if anything happens there. But guys, have a good night. Thanks for watching.